A remote training base on the Kent coast. For London's firearms officers, this is familiar terrain. It's around here they spent months learning the skills needed to become members of CO19. These officers return here every 6 weeks in a constant cycle of training scenarios. Here they've surrounded a house where an armed suspect is holed up inside. A group of officers edge forward, their intention to convince the man there's nowhere to go, that they have overwhelming numbers, and his only option is to give himself up.
I'll take hold of you, okay? I'm going to walk you out of here to the left, okay? Right, your hand in your head.
These exercises appear frighteningly real. They have to be. Operations like this are replicated on the streets of London on an almost daily basis.
A man's called an ambulance stating that he's a crack addict, he's alcoholic and has got pains all over. The man stated to the ambulance service that he's got a 12-bore shotgun under the floorboards and is going to shoot the police.
Because of the threats to the telephone operator, it's too dangerous for the paramedics to approach the man. Instead, CO19 officers are about to put the lessons learned in their latest training scenario to good use.
The police! Open the door!
Stay where you are.
On your head, turn around. Hands on top of your head. Do as we tell you. Put your hands on top of your head. Okay.
Bring it up, bring it up. You got that hand? Yeah,
One male is detained, he's in handcuffs. Are you okay, firstly?
Yeah.
Got an ambulance to see you, yeah? Safety and threat assessment are probably the two most important things that we do. Safety of ourselves, our colleagues, the public, and indeed the suspects that we're trying to deal with. And how we achieve that safety is by making an individual threat assessment on everything we deal with.
Target practice is an essential part of training, but the emphasis is on decision making, ensuring officers only ever open fire as a last resort.
Our training is about negotiating tactics that will avoid that fatal confrontation if necessary. But by the same token, we're keen to recruit people who, if they have to make that decision, they will do so.
One scenario officers fear is shooting someone carrying a gun only to discover the weapon is an air pistol or replica. There is a growing number of such weapons on the streets.
Just seen a vehicle, a white Nissan, just up ahead. 3 black males in it. Driver seemed behaving suspiciously, so at the next junction we're just going to pull it.
As the vehicle pulls over, one of the teenage passengers makes a run for it.
Suspects A406, third your one. Stop! Armed police! Stay where you are! Armed police! Show me your hands! Get on the floor! Get on the floor!
What? What have I done? Hands out. Oh, what have I done?
Yeah, stand by.
Hand out.
I got out of the car, chased him on foot, down to this point where something got discarded. I've walked back here to find what was discarded.
It's an air gun, but firearms officers say unless you examine it up close, it's impossible to tell. This youth was lucky. He didn't point it at the officers chasing him. He could have run a real risk of being shot.
Hand out now! What have I done?
Right.
Over the past year, police in the capital have seized more than 1,000 illegal firearms. Many had been or were about to be used in crime. This is the story of one of those weapons, and the officers trying to hold back the tide of illegal arms flooding the streets of Britain.
Right, we're on the way out to West London. We've got information that there's some people coming into London, and we believe that they're going to be in possession of firearms.
The suspects are believed to have bought a weapon just moments earlier. Officers from the Met's armed response team, CO19, are racing to catch up with them before they head back out of London.
Fellas, carry on the Stables corner. No noise, but as quick as you can. Right, committed M1, push on. Committed M1 northbound, push on, push on.
They're going to have to stop the car on the M1. On such a busy motorway in foggy conditions, it's fraught with danger.
Hold the traffic back. We have to slow it down. Slow all the traffic down before we actually instigate the stop. Do it now. Stay in the car. MP, can you contact motorway for me, please? We need traffic officers as soon as possible. Motorway 1 northbound, just north of Scratchwood Services. Suspects have been detained in possession of guns on the motorway. It's happened very spontaneously, have not been able to pre-plan it.
The operation is over within seconds.
Fellas, walk them back away from this vehicle. If we can get them off the motorway behind the crash barrier.
This was no softly arrest, but the police make no apologies for that.
A firearm can be stored anywhere on somebody's person. Could be in your waistband, could be carrying it, could be in your hand. Until the officers have actually got control of those suspect hands, can see what they're doing, and the suspects are out of the car, then they pose a very real and potentially lethal threat. Most people, if they knew someone had a gun in the car, would be travelling the other way, whereas what I'm asking my team to do is to actually intervene, stop the suspects, even though we know they have a gun in the car, and do that by the safest means possible.
Well, the two men that were pulled from the car are now being held further up the carriageway by officers. Inside the car itself, in the boot, this is what they've found: a handgun, a silencer and ammunition. It was all destined for the streets of an English city. Now it's been seized by the police. The consequences of illegal weapons on the streets is frighteningly apparent. Robberies on armoured security vans, for instance, have more than doubled in the capital in the past year.
A member of staff in a local shop has seen a car with 3 males in it wearing balaclavas following a security van, so I believe there could be a cash in transit robbery. You received, basically from the local leg, we believe that armed robbery has now taken place.
The armed robbers have abandoned their car and run off through a nearby housing estate.
There's no trace of the playground. We got here about 3 minutes after it was abandoned. The local supervisors found it. The suspects are obviously decamped. Without any further information, we're going to be relying on a sort of slower time investigation now, which the flying squad will be dealing with.
The high number of security van robberies, more than 300 in the past year, has prompted the Met to launch a special operation to tackle the problem.
Stand by, Chris, he may be coming out behind you, stand by.
On the streets of Lambeth in South London, a car linked to gun crime is about to be stopped by armed officers from CO19.
Vision on, he's indicating right towards us. Should we stop it? Yeah. Fellas, we could do it here. Oh, police! Keep your hands where you can see him, mate. Keep your hands where you can see him. Okay. Nice one. Just step out of the car for me. Step out of the car. Keep your hands where I can see him. Put your hands on the roof of the car for me, please.
Lambeth is well known to London's armed police. It has one of the highest rates of gun crime in the capital. More than 270 firearms offences last year alone. In separate incidents recently, 2 police officers were shot at. Today, it's the police on the offensive.
Information about a vehicle where the occupants believe to have access to a firearm which is disguised as a mobile phone.
The intelligence on the car they're about to stop is recent. The occupants are thought to pose a significant risk. The operation to detain them will be dramatic.
Okay, we could be coming up on it now. That looks like one of our cars. It's this one here. Stay in the car. Do not get out of the car. Police! Open the window! Get out! Get out of the car! On the floor! Get on the floor!
Get down! Get down! Let go of that phone!
What you call a sort of dramatic stop. It may look like that, but effectively all it is an armed containment of the vehicle, where you get compliance through dominance of the suspect inside.
Officers later examined this mobile phone. It turned out to be harmless. Well into the evening, the offensive to target known gun criminals is continuing. These armed operations are highly visible and, to passers-by, pretty alarming. The sensitivities of officers pulling predominantly black people from their cars is something the police are only too aware of. But gun crime in London, for a host of highly complex reasons, is a particular problem within the black community. They've already made several arrests and recovered some weapons.
Sorry, go in front, we'll cover it. Oh mate, get out of the car! Show us your hands, get out of the car!
Get out of the car! I'll get your stick belt.
Okay, I've got cover. The information was that a few weeks ago the person who was in the car was impotent, pointed a firearm at somebody. He was arrested regarding that, but the firearm's still outstanding, or believed to be. So as a result, again, it was a stop that couldn't have been conducted without firearm support, but the vehicle will be searched and the suspect will be spoken to, and hopefully that'll be a result.